Good evening, students, and welcome to today's daily quiz presented to you by BYJU'S Exam Prep IAS. We'll start with our first question. Which of the following statements are correct? The International North South Corridor is developed to connect the Southern Hemisphere with the Northern Hemisphere via Africa to Russia. It is a multimodal transportation route. So we have taken this question because according to a report in PIB, a workshop was conducted to link the Chabahar port, which has been developed by India in collaboration with Iran, with the INSTC, that is International North-South Transport Corridor. So this workshop was conducted by the Ministry of Ports, Shipping and Waterways. So what is INSTC? It is India's vision. So this has been envisioned by India, and the purpose of it is to reduce the time taken for export import shipments to reach Russia, Europe and enter the Central Asian markets from India. So here it is also written that it is a multimodal transportation route which will link the Indian Ocean and the Persian Gulf to Caspian Sea via Iran and onward to Northern Europe via St. Petersburg in Russia. So it is not any transport corridor that will connect the northern and the southern hemispheres. It will in fact connect the global north, that is a term used for the developed nations, and the global south, that is the term used for the developing and the underdeveloped nations. So it is envisioned entirely by India, and it will help connect India to Russia and Central Asian countries. Chabahar port is going to be a very important part of this multimodal transportational route. So amongst these statements, this is wrong. The International North-South Transport Corridor is not developed to connect southern and the northern hemispheres. This is correct because yes, it is a multimodal transportational route. So the correct answer here is B. Let's move on to the second question. Which of the statements are correct regarding the PRASHAD scheme? This scheme is under the aegis of Ministry of Tourism. It aims to develop identified pilgrimage locations. The scheme allows for PPP, that is public-private partnership, and CSR funds, that is corporate social responsibility funds, for heritage development. We have taken this question because there has been a citizens committee to press heritage development clearances work on Chamundi Hills. So this has to be done under the PRASHAD scheme. So PRASHAD scheme is Pilgrimage Rejuvenation and Spiritual Heritage Augmentation Drive. So this is a scheme of the union government under which it provides funds to the state governments in order to develop these sites, these heritage sites, to increase their tourism potential. And under the union government, this particular scheme, it comes under Ministry of Tourism. So this is a national mission that was launched by Ministry of Tourism in 2014-15 with the objective to develop these heritage sites in a holistic manner. Now earlier the name of the scheme was Prasad, and later on it was changed to National Mission on Pilgrimage Rejuvenation and Spiritual Heritage Augmentation Drive. So the H was added later on. It became Prashad scheme. To improve the availability of finances of funding, this scheme even allows the involvement of the private sector through PPP projects and the CSR projects for development of these heritage sites. So, this is a correct statement that it is under the Ministry of Tourism. This is also correct. It aims to develop identified pilgrimage locations. And this is also correct that it allows for PPP and CSR funds for helping in financing the various projects. So the answer here is D. The next question is related to Indian Army and involvement of women. Which of the following statements are true? The Indian Army now allows women in frontline combat roles. The Indian Army grants women permanent commission. So we have taken this question because of this article in the Hindu that women officers will be in command soon. So, a special selection board is being conducted to promote women officers from the ranks of Lieutenant Colonel to Colonel from January 9th to 22nd. So, this is after the Supreme Court judgment that was given in the year 2021 that upholded an earlier judgment that said that permanent commission and command positions they must be given to the women. So earlier these permanent commissions they were not given to the women officers, but after the Supreme Court ruling this has now started. So this is a correct statement. However, even until now in the Indian army the women they are not being given the frontline combat roles. So this is a wrong statement and the correct answer here is B. So can you tell here whether any of our other forces like the Navy or the Air Force provide women with a frontline combat roles? Give your answers in the comments below. Now we move on to the fourth question. Which of the statements are true regarding the FAME scheme? It aims to provide the penetration of EVs, that is electric vehicles, in the Indian automobile market. It has been implemented in 3 phases. It emphasizes the development of EV, electric vehicle charging stations in the country. Phase 1 of this scheme, it focused on four-wheel public transportation, while phase 2 is focusing on four-wheel private vehicles. So we have to select the correct statement. This question has been taken because of this news article in the Indian Express where 6 more EV makers are under scanner under the FAME scheme for flouting of the localization norms. So first let us try to understand what is the FAME scheme. The full form of it is Faster Adoption and Manufacturing of Electric Vehicles Scheme. So this has been adopted as of now in 2 phases. Phase 1 started in the year 2015 and it ended on 31st March 2019. The phase 2 it started after the phase 1, that is in April 2019, and it was completed on 31st March 2022. Now this scheme it covers both the hybrid as well as the electric technologies, including mild hybrids, strong hybrids, battery electric vehicles and so on. There are 4 focal areas of this scheme that includes technology development, demand creation, pilot projects and provisioning of charging infrastructure. Now what is this localization norm? So, in order to receive the subsidies under this scheme, the original equipment manufacturers they had to ensure that the two-wheelers that they are producing they have at least 50% of their components which are locally sourced. However, many of these OEMs they have been flouting these norms, and for that the government of India is taking the services of E&Y, a consultancy group, to audit the companies who have claimed the subsidies under this particular scheme. Now, one more interesting fact about this particular scheme is that the phase 2 it focused mainly on electrification of the public transport. So this was the focus area of phase 2, while phase 1 the focus area was electrification of the private transport. So here let us see which are the correct statements. This is correct. Yes, it aims to improve the penetration of electric vehicles in India. This is wrong. As of now, we only have had 2 phases of this scheme. This is correct. It also emphasizes upon development of the charging stations in the country. This is wrong. This is opposite of what is the reality. Phase 1 focused upon private while phase 2 focused upon the public transport. So the correct answer here is A, that is statements 1 and 3 are correct. Now we come to a PYQ which was asked in the year 2019. Which of the following is issued by registered foreign portfolio investors to overseas investors who want to be a part of Indian stock market without registering themselves directly? Certificate of deposits, commercial paper, promissory notes, participatory notes. So the correct answer here is the participatory notes. These are also known as P notes. They are nothing but overseas derivative instruments which are backed or which have the Indian stocks as their underlying asset. So if a person has this participatory note, he or she will have the ownership of the assets which back these notes. So what is certificate of deposits? They are very short term instruments and they are issued by the commercial banks and special finance institutes. They are not related to the stock market. Commercial papers, which are also known as CPs, they are also short term debt instruments which are raised by the companies. They are also not related to stocks. Promissory notes, they are also a kind of financial instruments which include a promise by one party to another party with regards to a definite sum of money. So when it comes to stock markets, it is only participatory notes which are associated with them. So the correct answer here is D. Next we come to the fact of the day. It is related to the National Disaster Response Force because on 19th January 2023, they celebrated their 17th Raising Day, that is their 17th Foundation Day, over which both the Prime Minister of India and the Union Minister of Home, they congratulated the NDRF. So the history behind NDRF is that in the year 2005, India finally came up with a dedicated National Disaster Management Act after facing the tragedies of 1999 Orissa cyclone, the 2001 Gujarat earthquake in the Bhuj area. Then in 2004, we had one of the most devastating natural disasters, that is the tsunami of Indian Ocean, which deeply impacted India. So in 2005, we came up with the National Disaster Management Act, which had a provision for establishing a dedicated force for disaster management in the country. So because of that, finally in the year 2006, on 19th January, we established the NDRF with 8 battalions. Since then, the NDRF has been instrumental in many ways, ranging from the Kosi floods just in the year 2008 to the devastating earthquake in Kashmir and so on. And they have proven the important role that they have been established for. Right now, the NDRF has 16 battalions, and each battalion has a specific area that they have to cater to. Apart from that, another special thing is that each battalion has 18 self-contained specialist search and rescue teams of 45 personnel each. So they have been given special training for their search and rescue operations after the disaster has hit the country. And they are equipped not just to deal with the natural disasters but also the man-made disasters. So that is all about today's daily quiz. I hope you were able to understand all the facts that were dealt over here. So thank you very much. Hope you have a very good day ahead, and do not forget to like, share and subscribe to our YouTube channel.